Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Tuesday afternoon. That means it's time for Tuesdays with DX Engineering. And today we have on George, K3GP,
Good afternoon.
George Papa. And George is part of the DX Engineering sales and technical team. George, good afternoon to you, and thanks for being here today.
My pleasure.
So, George, how long have you worked for DX Engineering?
17 years now.
17 years, and you have helped thousands of guys with questions about radios, about antennas, and of course, you're a big RTTY fan, right?
That is correct. That's my favorite mode.
Yep. And George, can you tell us when you started with RTTY? Do you remember when you started with RTTY, and what attracted you to RTTY?
I think it was, of all things, you have to be a little bit older in ham radio to remember Wayne Green. But Wayne Green, W1NSD, was a big RTTY fan. I read some of his articles, and that's what got me interested. And then finally, I got it was a 32V3 transmitter from Collins that I modified to do some shifting, and got into RTTY that way. And interestingly enough, one of the very first QSs I made with RTTY, I keyed up, and then there was a big loud bang, and everything went out in the house. And I thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? Well, here, a transformer in front of the house, it went out right about the same time I started to transmit. So I assumed some guilt I didn't really deserve.
It was just time for the transformer. But RTTY, now, if you think about, so when, what year was it that you had this Collins transmitter that you modified so you could work RTTY?
It would be the mid-70s, 74, 75.
Okay. So, here we are 50 years later, and boy, RTTY has changed a lot. And, but if you think about all the QSOs that you've had now, so let's see what boxes you can check off, George, because, 50 years, you're an RTTY expert. So worked all states, got that right.
Worked all zones as well.
Worked all zones, all 40 zones. And so how many countries do you think you've worked on RTTY?
Just cleared 300 on RTTY.
300 on RTTY, which is really a tough thing. Talk about RTTY today, because there's a lot of activity in RTTY RTTY contests. Talk about how hard is it to hook up RTTY today?
Today, not very difficult at all. There's some wonderful freeware programs like MMTTY that are available out there. Modern radios even have the built-in sound cards. When I first started at DX Engineering, one of our best sellers was the Signal Link sound cards that you use to operate RTTY. Now, things like the FTDX 101, the FTDX 10, and also some ICOM and Kenwood radios all have the built-in sound card, so you don't have to do that.
Right. So would you say it's much simpler now, to get on RTTY if you want to get on that?
Absolutely, a whole order of magnitude simpler than it was then.
So, and somebody that just gets like a new ICOM 7300, they want to work RTTY, but they also want the fast track, to working FT8. How hard is it to get the 7300 or one of the Yaesu radios, the FTDX10? How hard is it to get it on?
Those are all three, FT4, FT8, PSK, RTTY, all the digital modes take advantage of the internal sound cards, and you can be up and running in short order. You just need typically a USB cable from the computer over to the radio to get going.
So that makes it a whole lot easier when it comes to getting on these digital modes, which are extremely popular. And now that 6 meters and 10 meters are open, you don't need much power, right? With these FT8, FT4 modes.
Right. I've worked all states on 6 meters with FT8 except Alaska and Hawaii. Those are the two tough nuts to crack.
Yeah, and the band does open there, but boy, is it quick.
Yeah, you better be ready.
You're absolutely right with that. Um, Now, George, let's talk about ham benching because we're all getting it's the busy time of year where we're getting ready to go to ham benching. We're 7 weeks out, and when was the first time that you went to ham benching?
Well, this hamvention will be my 53rd in a row. And an interesting story, my very first one was in 1973. My oldest daughter was born on Thursday, and me and four other guys flew out on a Cessna on Saturday while the wife and the daughter was still in the hospital.
Well,
So
there's
that's dedication.
yeah, that's dedication. There's a memory for you, and I don't know that you could get away with that today, but 53, that is certainly a good string. And of course, Hamvention now is much different for you, be being with the booth, with DX Engineering, right? You've got customers steady stream all day.
Well, you sacrifice any time out in a flea market, that's for sure. But that's the downside. But the upside is meeting so many interesting people that come up to you and talk about our products, not just things related to Iridian radios, but also amplifiers and things like our NCC2 and balance and ununs. The gamut. We get to talk with it just about everybody that walks in and wants to talk, and I think we covered all the products that we sell by the time the hamvention is concluded.
Well, I've watched customers come up to you at Hamvention, George, and they've written down a list, and of all the questions that they want to ask. Maybe it's about a product that they already have, or maybe it's one that they're looking to buy. So it was really interesting last year for me to watch that going on, where guys would bring their lists up. And there in building one, we've got one of the largest booths that you're going to find at Hamvention. Let's talk about amateur radio in Pittsburgh, where you spent how many years in Pittsburgh?
Well, I was first licensed in 71, moved out of Pittsburgh for work in 87. So that's 16 years that I was in Pittsburgh. And had a lot of good times, belonged to a number of the Pittsburgh clubs, met a lot of good people there, and got my feet wet with repeaters in those days. And a lot of mobiling. Converted CB rigs was the big thing. You went to Sears and got a Sears CB rig and converted the thing to 10 meters, you'd have a blast.
So in 1987, where do you move to, George?
I moved to North Canton, Ohio. I was working in those days in the steel industry, information technology for J&L Steel in Pittsburgh, and they sold off the stainless steel division in Louisville, Ohio, and then I went and developed a data center there in Louisville. That's what took me to Ohio. Been there ever since. Not in Ohio. The job at J&L ended after 17 years, and when I was out of work for a little while, by and large, and I was lucky to find that there was a career opportunity on the DX Engineering website I responded to. The rest is history.
Yeah, there you go. Now, when you in 1987, you relocate from Pittsburgh to North Canton, the Louisville area. How important was amateur radio and the amateur radio clubs in the North Canton area to you getting settled?
It took a while, not a long time, but it took a while to and getting on the air and on 2 meters and talking with locals and finding out people with similar interests. I would say it took a better part of a year. Of course, it takes more than a year to unpack all the boxes after you move, so that was pretty quick.
Well, that's part of the deal, though. Is you get moved in and let's go to a ham club and let's meet some new guys and make some new friends. But and I realize that not everybody has that luxury of a ham club, right?
Absolutely.
But these days with the internet and Zoom and YouTube, that does close the gap quite nicely. George, I do want to look in over at the chat room here. We've got from North Carolina, November 4, Queen Mike. Bubba is in. And from Mexico, X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu Zulu. And Bubba says that he was on RTTY with an old Heathkit Apache.
Oh,
Boy, I don't know which weighs more, the Apache or that 32 V3.
they were both heavy. And one of my mentors was, he's Silent Key, K3CHD, ran RTTY with a scratchy Apache.
So, but boy, I'll tell you, so thankful that the radios of today don't weigh as much, except for the 7851. I got to tell you, these guys are heavy duty, and that's okay. Donnie, you tried to post there, but it didn't quite work out. So try it again. And our friend Mark is on from England, Mike Zero Delta X-Ray Radio. Looking forward to seeing you at Dayton. The WRTC UK will be there and getting ready for WRTC 2026. Thanks to DX Engineering for your gold level support. And we are very excited to have WRTC UK with us right in the adjacent booth. So it's
the
going to work out.
WRTC is such fun when it happens. I've been having a blast, I think, everyone since, 2014.
Yeah, no, it's been great stuff. And George, look at this for DX. Oscar Yankee 1, Oscar Foxtrot.
Oh, wow.
Now, George, you know what island this is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Faroe Island. And there it
Yeah.
is. Nice to have Oliver on. And thank you for watching today. And our good friend and consummate DXer, Scotty, Whiskey Kilo 3 November. There's a guy who knows RTTY. He knows FT8. He knows SSB and CW, and he doesn't sleep very much. I've heard that. He likes being on the radio. Scotty, great to have you here today. So George, what about this sunspot cycle, and what about getting ready for field day?
Oh, wow. That is a hot topic right now because, of course, I'm the CW captain for the PCARS club, and one of the things we have to do is carefully avoid interference between the CW station and the FT8, FT4 station. And we're trying to plan because we're planning on 10 and 15 being wide open this year, wider than they've been in a lot of years. And we're going to try and coordinate so neither the CW station or the FT8 station are on the same band at the same time. And that'll be an interesting task, but we're up to it.
Well, and with some of the new enhancements on FT8, FT4, the multiple streams, where you can run many streams, that makes it very interesting. And in times of emergency, FT8, FT4, that's going to be on the table, and definitely. But it's good, from a field day perspective. And I think your group, the PCARS group, K8 Big Fun, K8BF, you guys do SSB, you do CW, some satellite. I'm assuming you do some satellite. So everybody gets exposed to all the modes, right, George?
Yeah, and don't forget the Get on the Air station for the youngsters. We'd like to have one of those stations going too.
Yeah, so here we are, basically 3 months out from field day. And so it is time. And I'm seeing a lot of announcements in the club bulletins about talking about field day and talking about which radios are coming out, how about the generators, and also about those get on the air stations for the young hams, the new hams, get on the air. Back to the chat room, and we've got Mike Mowry, KE3 Juliet Papa. Mike is on with us today from Greenville, Pennsylvania. And he's always doing something in radio, whether Mike is, I think he's trying to work all the states too on 6 meters. I think he might have 49 He might have all 50. I know Alaska was a real bugaboo for Mike, but I think he got it here a few months ago. And Rob says his first transmitter was a Heathkit Apache. And of course, you always remember your first transmitter. Mine was a Johnson Adventurer. So that's that same time period. Mike says he's got all 50 states now on 6 meters.
Oh, good.
So congratulations, Mike. A lot of hard work to get all 50, but he says he's got all 50 now. And that is a big achievement because as we talked about, George, that Alaska and Hawaii, that can be a tough cookie.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is I had less trouble making New Zealand and Australia than those 2 states.
Well, and in fact, a lot of the guys, speaking of Australia, last night on 6 meters, were working Australia out in the West Coast. So you never know what's going to happen. And you got to keep your ears and your computers on the band. Well, George, thanks so much for coming on today.
Glad to be here.
Taking time away from the customers. And thank you for all you do, talking to customers all day long, answering emails, and taking care of guys that are just trying to have fun with the best hobby in the world.
Absolutely.
And George, thanks for being a part of the DX Engineering team. And thanks to all of you for watching today. I hope you had fun with George, K3GP, from the DX Engineering Sales and Technical Support Team. We'll see you next time, George, and 73, everybody.